Hi, brother teacher here. I want to ask you a question today that might be sensitive to you. It's definitely sensitive to me, but I'm going to do it anyway. So embrace yourself if it happens to be you, but I'm sure that we can get through this. Have you ever cheated on your spouse? Is my question to you. Or do you know of someone who has cheated on their spouse? That can be a very controversial question. But before I begin, I want to apologize early on. In case you hear a dog barking in the background, that's my neighbor's dog, and I have no control over that. So I'm going to try to get through this if that's an issue still. But cheating on a spouse, is it right to cheat on a spouse? In general, yes, it is wrong, is what I mean to say. It is wrong to cheat on your other half. It is wrong to cheat on your spouse in general. So, why, brother teacher, do you say in general? Why not just flat out declaratory statement that it is wrong to do that? I'm going to tell you why now. When we meet an individual that we care about, that we want to pursue a relationship with, there are reasons on both sides. And there are the right reasons and there are the wrong reasons. As I forestated in one of my earlier videos, and I'm going to make known to those who maybe have not seen it yet, um, we really shouldn't go out looking for a spouse, a mate, or someone to call our own, so to speak. I know that sounds sort of yuppie or yucky, but usually when you go out looking for someone, a spouse, or hanging out in nightclubs and places of that nature, you know what you're going to receive. You're going to receive a bar hopper, a promiscuous individual, male or female. You're going to receive some, excuse me, you're going to find someone out there that's uh, horny, that just wants to get laid and don't really want a relationship and don't really know what they're looking for. That's basically the truth. And that's not just the bars and the nightclubs, that's the shopping malls, the restaurants, the public venues, and what have you. You don't want to go looking for love. Oftentimes, the best love, the best case scenarios are those where it just happens. You might be in the grocery store. You might be walking through the park with your dog or just sitting on a bench in the park, minding your own business, and you luck upon someone, be it male or female, whichever you happen to be at the time, a male sitting on the bench or a woman sitting on the bench. And you just start out with a casual conversation with the other individual, and then you find out that you have some things in common, and then you probably start lightly dating one another, and then you find yourself in a real relationship, and then you start making plans for being together, as boyfriend girlfriend, or even getting married possibly. Now let me say this while I'm on this subject. I don't believe or espouse the term boyfriend girlfriend to mean that you're in a relationship. That's puppy dog stuff. That's elementary, high school stuff. That's that temporary love type of thing. In other words, uh, when you're in a relationship, that's your companion. It's just simply the truth. A boyfriend is literally a friend that is a boy, and a girlfriend is literally a friend that is a girl. And we toss that terminology around oftentimes to sort of take the pressure off of responsibility That way we don't have to say that we're together really, or that we are not married, this type of thing. But if you are having sexual intercourse with your partner, you are married because your minds came together first and then your bodies came together. That, my friend, is marriage, the real definition of marriage. Okay, but getting back to the subject at hand, should you cheat on your spouse? As I said before, we get into relationships for the right reasons and the wrong reasons. Sometimes people get into relationships because of money. One or the other partner may have a really good job or income, and that might help satisfy the needs financially for the other person, and that might be your motive. It could also be looks or appearances. The person has a banging body. The man is all gemmed out. You know, he has big pectoral muscles and large arms, and he's just a hunk. Or the woman has a nice behind. You know, she has large breasts, and you know she has a pretty face and beautiful, voluptuous lips. But we all get old one day, right? Sometimes they say, you know, after a period of time, you get tired of who you with. Not with real love, you don't. Because love withstands all things. Love is forever if you know what real love is. But sometimes we're infatuated. It looks good at the time. And the other thing, too, I want to make a point on also is that when you're in a relationship with someone, it's totally one different thing to be in a relationship with someone and they live at their home and you live at your home and you visit one another's homes, and that's the arrangement that you have, versus you actually living together under the same roof 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 364 days a year. That's another dynamic by itself. So what I'm saying as it relates to that is this: some people just can't live together because you have your ways of doing things and they have their ways of doing things. And sometimes when your ways of doing things irritate the other person or vice versa, or they clash with one another, then you have those prerequisites to getting out of the situation or the arrangement or the spousal relationship, as it were. People get tired of you or they get tired of one another. And oftentimes it's because of the wrong reasons for getting together in the first place. Um, if you get in a relationship and it's about money and your partner loses their job or they become injured or they have a medical condition where they can't work and they don't have that income anymore, I have personally seen and I have witnessed many situations where that was the demise of the relationship because of the economics. That's sad. That's not real love. And I have seen situations where the wife or the female spouse, whatever the case were, she gained some weight after she had a baby, or she just gained some weight, period. And the guy, oftentimes he wasn't in the best shape himself, but he was adoring the lady that he met in the beginning. But when she picks up 50, 60 pounds or more, he begins to look elsewhere. So that was the wrong reason for getting together in the first place. You're supposed to get together because you have this in mind. This in mind. You have a mutual understanding and appreciation for one another. That is why you get together. And as the old saying in marriage vows was, for better, for worse, through death, or until death do us part. That is really the type of mindset you should have in a relationship. I find it so interesting, especially on the marriage side, to see people spend thousands of dollars and celebrities spending hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars on a wedding, the most expensive diamonds, the most expensive bands, all of this hoopla for this person that they say that they love, and they both say that they love each other the same, only to find after a year or two of marriage, they're divorcing. How in the world could you be so head over heels for another individual one day and can't stand them or hate their guts the next day? It really is so simple. You got married for the wrong reason in the first place. One person did, maybe. Or you thought that your wife, or the wife thought that the husband felt the same way for them as they did towards them. You thought they felt the same way. And usually that's not the case. Now, there are some marriages that are made in heaven, as they say, and that's wonderful. But if you look at the statistics today, over 50% of American marriages are failing. That's true. And quite frankly, again, it is because you have picked the wrong person that doesn't love you how or the same way that you love them. Or you pick that person for the wrong reasons. Now, if it's economical, back away from it. If it's because of their body, how beautiful they look, back away from it. Look at the content of their character and fall in love with that. But make sure that it's mutual. And when you get together with someone, make sure that you don't have sex the first day and that that's not the only thing that you're thinking about. Make sure that when you get together with someone, that you get to know their mind first. I'm gonna say it again, brother teacher. The mind. Get to know their mind. You see, a lot of times people will do and say all of the things that we want to see them do and all of the things that we want to hear them say. They will do those things because they don't want you to see their baggage that they might be carrying from a past relationship or several relationships for that matter. So they will put on a disguise and they will wear a mask. And it only takes so long before the real them shows up. So date for a while without sex. Get to know where this person is really coming from. Do they have a future with you, a real future? Do they have a career mind? Do they really want something for both of you all? Do you want a family together? Get to know that person for a period of time. And then once you're confident, and I mean on both sides, male and female, once you're confident with one another, then you can consider everything else, the sexual side of it, and consider moving in together and possibly getting married. That's the way it really should be. So many people rush in too quickly into a relationship and then they jump out so quickly the next day. So I want to share this with you. There are things that a spouse is supposed to do for one another, says spouses should do for one another. One of those things is to love them uh, without condition. You love your spouse if they're short, tall, stout, doesn't matter. If they're blind in one eye, missing a finger, if that's how you met them, that's how you love them. You're supposed to love them, as I said, unconditionally. regardless, and be ready and willing to lay down even your life for that other human being that you call yours, because you become one when you unite. You become one. Now, if anything were to happen down the road where one or the other becomes ill, God forbid, or becomes unemployed, becomes handicapped, or anything else that you can imagine that's going to affect you in a negative way, real love will stay there. Fake love will say, I'm out of here. So understand that. Make sure that that's the person that you are giving your life to. Make sure that that person sees life the same as you. Now, I said I was going to share something with you personal. But before I get there, I'm going to say this. The whole premise of this video was based on the question, is it right to cheat on your spouse? I want to say this. You're supposed to nurture one another. And if you are sexually active and have been sexually active as the male, and if you as the woman have been sexually active as the woman before you met one another, that should not cease. That is the greatest expression of love, the physical coming together. If one or the other deprives the other one of sex, let's say the man cheats on his young lady, is he wrong for cheating? Yes. Is he somehow justified if she's not giving him sex, to put it point blank? Maybe, maybe not. You be the judge of that. Now, if he's not having sexual relationships with her, if she goes and cheats, is she right for cheating? You be the judge of that. What is your viewpoint? That's what I really want to know. I feel this way. You can't deny one another something that you both are accustomed to and have been accustomed to. So if you as the woman have been accustomed to having sex, and you're having sex once a year, once every 6 months, twice every 8 months, something is definitely wrong. And conversely, if you're the male and she has reduced you to having sex with her once every 6 months or 7 months or 4 or 5 times a year, something is wrong. And you need to sit down, whoever is having a problem, you need to sit down, not with anger, but with compassion and understanding. And you look at your other spouse and you say, I want to have a heart-to-heart talk with you. I realize that we have not been coming together on the physical side, and I wanted to know if there's something wrong. Is there something that I have done wrong, or somehow I can make things better and make you more interested in having a physical coming together as we should on a more frequent basis? Something along that line. That's what you should do before you just jump out and you bouncing from one person to the next, male or female, or you have a fling with someone and it gets good to you because she or he is giving you the time that your spouse is not giving you. And that's another reason people separate or break up in relationships too, because the other person is not communicating with them. They're not talking. They're not having family time. Life is dull. It's boring. You don't do anything together. That's another reason people say anyway that that was the end of our relationship, because we never did anything. I think personally that that's a lame excuse. But back on the sexual aspect of it again too. The sexual aspect of it is this. I don't think you can fault the man and be that stern with the man. And when you are not giving him any sex, when you're not having sex with your partner, you can't not fault them for going out and seeking that which is natural to man. You can't fault them. Now, I am speaking, if we preface this with the conversation, if you've had the conversation on a few occasions and nothing has changed, why do you blame the man for going out and getting what you have not given him? And conversely, why you, sir, blame your female companion for going out and getting something that she's talked to you about already on numerous occasions and you have not complied? And then you want to say, well, you're a cheater and you're a bitch and you're a whore and all these manner of things, of harmful things, but it's wrong. Doesn't really make it 100% right, but that's wrong because you should have listened to her cries of pain within. And the same is true with the man. Young lady, and I call you all young, you should listen to the cries of the man. If he's trying to tell you, we need to get together and have sex, I'm not happy in this relationship, everything else seems to be going okay, but we're not having sex, I'm accustomed to sex, and I don't know what's going on. And then when you don't comply, when you don't try to make some sort of amends, and he goes out and he has a relationship with someone and he has sex and you find out, then all of a sudden he's a dog. Now, can it be fixed? Difficult to patch it up after it's happened. But in the beginning, in the very beginning, when one or the other tries to talk to their partner and say, I have an issue and I would like to talk about it. And I don't think you need to go out and have counseling. I don't think people outside of you necessarily can fix your problem. I think you fix your own problem where you are. And even if that means that you might not be the perfect match for one another, and that might be a bitter pill to swallow. And oftentimes people leave relationships in a very tumultuous way and damaging one another's, and you end up with a whole lot of baggage that you carry into your next relationship because you're so damaged from the previous relationship. So to cap this video off, I want to say this. In my personal life, and I'm giving this to you, and you go from there. In my personal life, I was married, first wife, had several children. I was in the military. At times I worked a couple jobs when I was in my 20s, my early 20s, for several years, married, providing for my family. I believed in the old apple pie, picket fence, dog in the yard, living happily ever after. We met in junior high school. And I had real love and she had infatuation. And it took several years and several children for me to find this out. My wife at that time, she had a baby that was not mine while I was at work. She was hanging out with other people. And I always had the heart to work and provide for my family. The old American dream mentality, if you will. And as we said in the military, Jody's got your girl and gone. That played out in my life. So she thought that I was too, I guess, stiff-necked, if you will. I don't mean that in a derogatory sense, but I was too focused on, career in martial arts and having my own business and doing something positive, but she wanted to hang in the streets. And you know what? This was not something new. This was in her all along, but it manifested itself after a period of time. And then I saw things for how they really were, and it was difficult for me to address that because I never wanted to believe that the person that I put all of my attention into and that family, my family, and all of the effort and all of the work into the blood, sweat, and tears, trying to build this family unit, that it was not seen the same way through her eyes. So we end up with a child that I thought was mine. Found out that it was not because certain turns of events occurred that led to that, and finally she admitted it. It wasn't a good place. So I know what it's like to live in an unbalanced relationship or in a situation where one person loves and the other person has something like love. Because as I forestated, real love is undeniable. It suffers and it endures all things. So that was my take today. This was my spiel. This is Brother Teacher, and as always, I'm always going to try to offer you words of encouragement and get you to tap into that gray matter, so to speak, so we can find out how we can better help our brothers and sisters, irrespective of race, color, or creed. It doesn't matter to me. I'm your servant. That's what Yahweh put me here for. It might be uncommon to you, might not be normal to you, but you better accept me because I'm here for the long haul until he decides that it is enough. This is not a religious spiel, as it were. It is just a man who is spiritual, telling you that he cares about you. Those that watch my videos, I appreciate you very much, more than you'll ever know. And I thank you for your likes when you decide to do that. I don't look for that. I thank you for your comments, and I look forward to them as well. This is Brother Teacher. I will see you in the next video. May Yahweh bless you and your family. So long.